You, Big Mike. Big Mike, what it do? Hope all is well, bro. Bag was flying over. Something tape. Word. Yep, bless up, bro. Happy new moon. Capricorn today. Got a nice message for the people today. Yo, we're gonna go a little deeper today. Yep. Yo, we're gonna go deep today. Yes, sir. Yep. So I'm gonna jump straight into it. Well, I got the thoughts now before I lose my train of thought. And anybody else coming in, they'll catch the message or they can run it back if they come in too late. But peace and blessings, much respect, much love to everybody. Hope all is well. Hope everything is going good with your day. If your day not going good, I hope the rest of your day get better. But I got a message for y'all. Like I said before, to my big bro Mike. Happy new moon in Capricorn. Today's 111. That's a very powerful date, very powerful number, angelic number. So, new moon, you want to bring in a lot of new things and stuff like that. New manifestation, new ideas, new projects and different things. But also you want to do some releasing as well to make room for those new things to grow and form and to come into fruition as well. So this message is a little deeper. We're going to go a little deeper into, some family dynamics. So, the title for this video is going to be one of our tests in life is to overcome the bad habits that we inherit from our parents. One of our tests in life is overcoming bad habits that we inherit from our parents. So I'll start with the good stuff, and I always use myself as an example, and I'll give other examples, of what the title is talking about. So, I had both parents in my life. I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to have both parents in my life, and not just in my life, but in the same household. And, I'll talk about the good things that I did inherit, just like, the good things you inherited from your parents as well. So, my father is an Aquarius, very fixed sign, very straight to the point, very fixed in his ways. So, I told people before that know me, but for those that don't know, he was very militant. He's a police officer. He was in the armed forces, so he was very militant. And the things he taught me, the way he brought me up, I wasn't allowed to go outside without knowing my full name, my full address, my phone number. Like he hung up a sign on my wall in my room, and it was embarrassing when my friends used to come because they used to come over and make fun of me. Like, yo, you gotta read that or memorize that before you go outside. Before you go outside. And I was like, yeah, like he was not playing. I had to memorize, like I said, my full name, address, number. What else he had on there? Don't talk to people. Don't talk to strangers. What do you do if a stranger walks up to you and they try to ask you to help them find a lost dog? If somebody grabbed you, scream, yeah, like all that stuff. Like, yeah, but it was real serious at the time. It was embarrassing and I was annoyed. But as I got older, I appreciated it because he was just trying to prepare me for the world and my safety so I could know what to do. And, that I was prepared for the world just like all our parents is. So that was, he instilled those good traits in me as far as being responsible. That told me how to be responsible, how to take care of myself, how to watch out for myself, how to be aware of my surroundings. And also how to have discipline because, like I said, he was very militant in the way he taught me and the way he did things. He wanted certain things in a certain manner. It had to be this way, it had to be that way, about cleaning up my room, making up my bed, ironing up my clothes, different things, how to make myself something to eat as well if my parents wasn't there. He really was teaching me how to take care of myself and preparing me how to be disciplined as well. Of just being responsible overall. So those are good things that he instilled in me. And also hard work. Like I said, he was very on my head with things like when it came to sports or academics or whatever it was in life. It was like, if it wasn't up to his standards, he's going to let me know, like, yo, all right, you did good, but you could do better. you did this, okay, but I know your potential. So, like I said, it used to get on my nerves when I was young and it was annoying, but I understand it now because it helped develop me into the person and the individual that I am today. When it comes to my mother, she was old. Before I forget that too, he was no matter of fact, I had that part in later, guys. That's more of the habits that I'm talking about that we need to kind of work on getting rid of when it comes to inheriting certain habits from our parents. So we'll stay on the good stuff. So my mother, my father wasn't as emotional as my mother, but my mother was more of the not say emotional, but more the loving side. Like she showed more, because Aquarius sometimes have the habit of being very cold and nonchalant. So my mother was a Leo. It's funny because Aquarius and Leo is total opposites, and they both was together. That's the funny thing about their relationship. So my mother was a Leo. She was more like I said, more on the loving side, the caring side, expressive side. So she instilled in me about how to be expressive, how to speak up for myself, how to voice my opinion, how to just create. Don't be scared to let myself be free. So she taught me all of those things as well, and she taught me how to also treat people. Not that my father didn't teach me that, but she taught me as far as how to care for people, how to nurture people, how to be loving to people. So she showed how to share and all those things. So I got all of those good traits from hers, and she showed me that side. So my father was teaching me the hard side of life, discipline, responsibility, taking care of myself, doing things the correct way, being aware, being prepared for the world, how to defend myself, all those things. My mother was also showing me the other side of how to be a loving person, how to be a caring person, how to share, how to treat people, how to express yourself when it came to your points, your opinions, your creativity. She was a person that liked to dance. She was the life of the party. Like I said, she was a Leo, so everybody loved her. She was the center of the attention. Not that she even had to look for it, but she just was a loving, caring person, and she always was looking out for people, and she learned that from my grandmother. So she always had those traits. So I inherited that stuff from her as far as that. Like even now, I try to be a loving, caring person as much as I can. I try to look out for people as much as I can, if they genuine. If I got it and I see they in need, I'm gonna help them, stuff like that. And just, it ain't even gotta be about monetary things as far as money. It's just oh, good looking, bro. I appreciate it. It's just, it don't even gotta be a monetary money thing. It could just be, just sharing your outlook, your unconditional love. That's the word I was looking. Just being unconditional, loving the people that you care about, and just being there if they need somebody to listen. Because a lot of times people don't even. What do we think? We want to give them money and different things, but a lot of times people need people to listen to them. They need people to talk to. They need people to express themselves, vent to. That means the world to a lot of people. So I learned how to do those things from my mother, and learned how to do it well, and to have people skills rather. She taught me a lot of people skills. Cause like I said, my father wasn't the most expressive person when it came to emotions and stuff like that, but my mother was very expressive, and she was very extroverted as well. He was more introverted, so I got to learn both sides and those traits. And I, on top of whatever my own personal DNA makeup was, I got to combine all those things together. So now I'm gonna talk about what the title of the video is talking about. Our test is to overcome, bad habits that we inherit, from our parents. So, I use myself as an example, and y'all can think of things of, when it comes to your parents, or different things that you had to overcome. So when I talk about those things with the parents, we always hear people talk about, generational curses, things we had to overcome when it came to like our immediate big family and stuff like that. And, things that was in our generations that weren't the best that we seen were pitfalls for a lot of our family members, and they fell into those pitfalls or those traps. And it was up to us, to overcome those things. But I want to go deeper into our parents, because a lot of people don't talk about that stuff. Like, that's one, we all have a lot of tests in life, but that's one of the big tests in life, is to overcome a lot of bad habits that we inherit or traits from our parents, so we don't pass it on to our kids and continue that cycle. So like I said, I use my father as an example. So like I said, he was nonchalant. He wasn't as expressive when it came to his emotions and different things like that. So growing up and stuff like that, I was real nonchalant when it came to like my emotions, or closed off and stuff like that when it came to like expressing myself, or different things when it came to like I guess when it came to relationships with the, whenever I had girlfriends and stuff like that, I was nonchalant way more than I am now. Like, I'm way more expressive and talking and different things now than I was when I was younger. So that's one of the things I noticed like that, just being too nonchalant with certain things, or just emotions, being quickly closed off and things like that. I noticed those things. I got that a lot with my father when it came to expressing, or when it came to just, when it came to that loving side. Not that I didn't give love in my relationships, but when it came to like, I guess you could say arguments, not even arguments, but disputes or disagreements rather, I was nonchalant when it came to that, like after a while. So those are some of the things I realized I had to work on, because I'm like, I got to work on that. As I got older, I noticed that. So I'm like, I got to work on that when it comes to talking things out, or when it comes to disputes, not only just in relationships, but just people that I have a real cool connection with. If it's a dispute, talking about it and getting it out the way, rather than just being nonchalant and just walking away and not even caring. Because I was, like I said, he's Aquarius, he cold, and I'm in the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. So I know all about being cold. That's two of the coldest signs in the coldest months of January and February, Capricorn and Aquarius. So I know how cold we can get. And so I had to work on those things as I got older, and hold myself accountable, and making sure I'm not being too cold when it comes to those certain things, or make sure that I am being expressive, or I'm expressing my opinions, or just not being so nonchalant where I act like I don't care, walking away and something might really bother me, and I'm just like, yo, whatever, I don't care, whatever, I'm just going to move on or continue my life. So I try to be aware of those things now, to talk things out, or to be aware of that, or, express how I'm feeling when it comes to, in a relationship, if it's something I'm not feeling, or if it's an issue, or even if it's not a relationship, it's just a friendship, or, whatever the case is. So that's one of the things I noticed when it came, some of the bad, like I said, habits that I noticed that I inherited. I had to make a change. Another thing, like I said, being set in my ways, that was another thing I learned and inherited from him. Because like I said, he told me everything had to be this way, that way. If it wasn't his way, then it was no good. It was like he ain't feeling it, he ain't rocking with you or nothing. Like, it had to be his way or none. So I had to learn that too as well, about, that's back to the people skills, about everybody wasn't raised or learned things the way I did, or do things the way I do. So before, when I was younger, somebody didn't do something in the way I liked, or, I would just completely be like, all right, this person is stupid, or whatever the case is, or they would, I'm not going to say the other word, a lot of people don't like that word, but, this person is just slow, stupid, whatever the case, or they don't know what they're doing, or they, whatever it was that I was looking at them as, versus now I pay attention to those things, and I try to give people more grace when it comes to them learning certain things, or when they did something that wasn't the best. I try to see it from their side more. I try to look at both sides of the spectrum, rather than just being closed off, only looking my way or the highway type of thing. And that's how he is. So I learned that, like, all right, that stuff that I didn't like my father, because a lot of times we don't realize when we say, oh, I'm never going to be like my parent, or I'm never going to do those certain traits that my parents did. And we have a lot of their personality in us, and we don't realize we do the same things that they doing that we said we're not going to do, and we wind up doing it anyway as we get older. And like I said, that's a test for us to realize those things, so we can know to change it, so we don't pass that on. When we have kids, if we want to have kids, we don't pass that on to them. So we get rid of those traits, and we work on those things, or we learn how to better control it, have a better handle on it. So like I said, as I got older, I worked on those things, and I try to be more open-minded, because, I still got my certain ways with certain things where I'm just like, yo, this is the way I view this, and that's it. But I try to be more open in relationships, or just friendships, when people make mistakes, or people don't see things the way I do. I'm not on some like, oh, like how, I use the example of most spiritual people. They be like, oh, if you ain't on this page with me, then I can't be a friend. Or some religious people, if you ain't into this, then I can't be a friend. I try not to, I worked on those things of not being that closed-minded or being closed off where I'm like, I let people be free to what they believe, as long as it's not nothing like detrimental to me, or it's just something that's that outlandish rather. If it's they believe, so what they believe in, cool. It depends on what it is. If I'd be like, all right, I can't rock with that, but I still respect you, but I just gotta come over here, rather than you on that, I'm never rocking with you again, and that's it. Like, so I worked on that and be like, all right, certain things I open my mind to, or try, or listen to, or give people, like I said, if they make mistakes or they got certain habits, you have to give people certain time to get out of those habits, because everybody's not going to change overnight. Like I said, we don't realize, we always expect people to do things the way we learned it, or we do things and it makes sense to us, but we have to realize those people grew up a certain way too, and they were taught certain ways or weren't taught certain things where they don't understand. So something that seems very simple to us may be complicated to somebody else, and it might be something very fundamental. Like, you might be like, yo, this is common sense, but it might not be to them because they didn't learn that. They didn't get taught that. And nobody was there to teach them those things. So that's another habit that I inherited from him, that I worked on, and I continuously work on now. When it comes to my mother, we're gonna go even deeper to those things. When it came to like things as far as like addictive personalities, my mother, I think I talked about this before, but people in my life that know that my mother struggled with addiction. She struggled with, when it came to alcoholism, when it came to drugs and different things, she had her battles with that. Like, when I was younger, I used to go with her to AA meetings and stuff like that. I used to be right there by her side in the meetings, and other kids in the meetings with their parents that was there, and I used to be there and see her battle with these things. And there's a lot of other things that I seen her when she wasn't in her best state of being and stuff, that I seen that side of her as well. And I seen how it affected me and stuff like that. And then it grew a lot of remorse and different things at that time, because, nobody wants to see their parent in that mode. But I also got to see her overcome addiction and be clean for over 20 years when it came to alcohol and drugs. And that I got to see her, and that taught me a lot as well. But that trait of that, like we said, certain stuff we'll be like, yo, I ain't gonna never mess with that, or I ain't never gonna be like that. And then when I got to college and started just, 18 and started hanging out more and started doing my own thing, next thing you know, I'm drinking crazy. Next thing you know, later on, I'm smoking mad weed. So that addictive personality, I inherited that as well, something that I said I wouldn't do. And like I said, there's a lot of things that our parents did that we were like, oh, I would never do that, I would never be like this. And then we doing the same thing we don't realize as we get older, or whatever it is. So that's one of the things that I end up inheriting as well, was an addictive personality when it came to those things. Like I said, being the life of the party. I inherited that from my mother. Like she said, she's a Leo, spotlight, everybody love her. She got the glow. Same thing with me. When I come in, I'm not even trying to get the spotlight, but it's just, everybody see me like, yo, they go Cook, yo, they go Black, whatever they nickname they call me, and then it's on after that. Then everybody passing drinks, whatever girls around, we just wilding, the fellas around, everybody just having fun. But I also noticed how that put me on a road of destruction, and that also led me to depression. That led me to, a lack of loving myself, and that developed an addictive personality within myself that I didn't know was there until I started messing with those things. Because I never used to drink, I never used to smoke until I got 18. Then I started hanging out more, college, and just being in the party life more. Because I was just an athlete the years before that. I never did none of that stuff. I had new people around me that did, but I just never did that stuff. People in my family did, but I just never did it. So that, from 18 to in my late 20s and stuff, I seen how that addictiveness started developing within myself. And like I said, that led me to depression and stuff like that. Then I started seeing how that was affecting who I truly was at heart, because I was looking at the world in a different perspective. Because like I said, that led me to depression. I was trying to find myself. It was a lack of self-love. I wasn't happy where I was in life at that time. So it was a lot going on. And when I look back now, I'm like, oh, that's the same things I seen my mother, when she was going through that stage of her life that she was struggling, and before she overcame and became clean for over 20 years. So I inherited that same thing. But like I said, it was a test. These are tests for us also to overcome in life. So we pass that test and stop those bad traits that we inherited from our parents, so we don't pass it on to the next generation of our kids, or just anybody that we inspire and that watches us if you don't want to have kids. So I when I got a hold of that and I learned that by myself, I was like, all right, I have to stop, and pay attention to this addictive personality thing, because it's not good for me. It doesn't work for me. If I'm drinking too much, I don't feel good about myself. If I'm smoking too much, I see how it stagnates me, and I'm just not getting what I need to get done, or I'm just addictive to it. If I just chilling and not doing nothing, just smoking all day. It's like, why do I have to feel that? Why do I want to be high all day? Why do I want to be drunk? Why I want to be this? I had to really face that tough spirit and really be accountable and really tell myself the truth. And I didn't want to hear those things. I didn't want to tell myself, like, you messing up. This is not you. You need to be doing better. You falling off. Like, I really had to have talks with myself about those things when it came to that addictive personality and the things I was doing. I was getting addictive to me, that I seen was stagnating me, that I seen was throwing me off course, and I seen that was really, if I continue, it's going to be a road of destruction for myself. So when I noticed those things, I worked on those things, and I got better with it, and I was able to stop with the drinking and stop with the smoking and stuff like that, so I could focus more and also develop my spiritual gifts more, because those things were affecting my gifts. I spoke about this in videos before. I noticed when I smoked too much, I couldn't remember my dreams. I get a lot of messages in my dreams. I wasn't on point. Like I said, the paranoia is so much anxiety. It's just so much smoking and be like, all right, I'm gonna get this done, and then next thing I know, 3 hours pass and I'm doing something way different than an assignment or a project I wanted to get completed. So I noticed those things. So when it came to the drinking, having 1 or 2 drinks, then just going wild, having fun around people, this, that, and the third, and I'm not making the right decisions, waking up hangover, throwing up, all that stuff that didn't make me feel good, and just an overall in my body. So I had to realize I had to stop those things so I could be on point, and so I could be on track and focus on what the mission was for myself. Also, when it came to those things, even deeper when it came to health-wise, both of my parents was used to smoke cigarettes and stuff. So my father, for those that don't know, my father got COPD, that's emphysema. So he has to use an oxygen tank, and he had that since 2008 when he got it first diagnosed. So when I look back on things now, that's, like I said, that's something that was inherited that I didn't know was inside myself, that I got from both parents when it came to the smoking, crazy and addictive personalities of smoking. So when I got to go to hospital visits, or not even hospital visits, but rather appointments and different things with him, and I see the stuff he got to go through when it comes to, waiting on accessorides, or waiting on this, or having to rely on the oxygen tank for air and different things like that. When I really took myself out and put myself in his shoes, it made me think about life more, like, I need to take care of my health more. I need to stop with the addictiveness of smoking and different things, because look what happened to my father, look what happened to my mother, because my mother had it too. She still was smoking cigarettes later on in her life, but she had emphysema too, because she was doing it for some years too. So that made me think deeper, and I heard God talking to me like, do you really want to be smoking weed crazy like that and messing with your lungs, especially in the climate where you don't really know where this weed is coming from and all this other stuff, and you see what it did to your parents' lungs? Do you want to do that? And I really had to face that hard question and be like, that is true. I had to be honest with myself, and I'm like, I don't want to go through that, because I see the process and all of the craziness that my father got to go through when it comes to going to appointments, or like I said, having to rely on oxygen and stuff like that, deliveries with oxygen tanks. So that made me put myself in his shoes and look at it from his lens of what happened to him, and also my mother when it came to that. So that was another thing that I was like, I got to break that cycle now, because I don't want to pass it on to my kids. I don't want to pass it on to anybody that's looking up to me. I don't want them seeing that. I got to break that trait. I got to break that habit. So that's like one of the things, one of the few things, like I said, when it came to breaking those habits and realizing it, that you inherited it. because like I said, we don't realize that we tell ourselves, I'm not going to be this, or I'm going to be different from my parent, or I'm never going to do those things. And then little do we know, we have those things in our DNA as well, along with our own personal DNA makeup of who we are. And it's up to us that's one of our tests in life, to break that cycle of the bad habits we inherited from our parents, so we don't continue it, mess up our life, and continue the same path or the same cycle, or pass it on to our kids and they continue in that same cycle. So, yeah, I'm glad that it's helping. I appreciate it, definitely. Yep, I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad it could help. I always appreciate it when, the messages help people and stuff like that. Because like I said, I begin the messages, so I speak on it. I'm like, if it's only one person that need to hear it, then I'm doing my job. Because sometimes it might not be for everybody, but if it's only one person that needed it, then I'm happy. So I'm definitely happy that this is right on point. But so even outside of myself, like I said, I'm a people person. So even since I was younger, people always trusted me when it came to talking about things or certain secrets they had. I appreciate you too. So, like I said, people always trusted me when it came to secrets or different things that they just couldn't tell, the average person. And when I say average person, I mean people that they knew would judge them. Because a lot of people, not even just the world, is very judgmental of different things you do. So it's a blessing when you can find a person or people that really let you be you and express what's on your mind, and they don't judge you. They let you get it off and vent, and they don't sometimes they don't even have to say anything back. They could just let you get it out your system and talk. That's what a lot of people need, just somebody to sit there and listen. They don't need no feedback. Just let them get it out so they could be refreshed, and they could just get a breath of fresh air and take that mask off and just be them real self. Because we all wear a certain type of mask when we're in the world and different things when they come around certain people, but if we take that mask off in front of the people that really know us, and I mean that when I say that mask, I mean our true identity, because we only have the mask on to protect ourselves from the world. When we outside, we got a certain way we carry ourselves, because we want people to not come up to us trying to harm us, or not come up to us trying to play games. So we got to have a certain look, a certain outlook, a certain energy. But when we around people that we comfortable and we trust, we could let that guard down, and we could be our true self and play around, laugh, and do all this craziness and be ourselves. But back to that, like I said, people were trusting me. So when it came to, I'll talk about the men's side too as well, with men I was friends with as well. But when it comes to dealing with women I dealt with, or even women I was cool with, a lot of times when they tell me certain things, when it came to their parents, when it came to their mothers, or, if they didn't have a really good relationship with their father, and they would express it to me really like, oh, my mother did this or she did that, I would never be like that. And then later on, they don't even realize that they was doing some of the same things that their mother, the habits that they didn't like and they despised and they hated, they were doing it as well. And they didn't realize those things. Same thing when it came to men. I knew that if they expressed something about, they didn't like their mother for doing this, or they didn't like their father for doing that, they were doing the same traits that they hated and despised in their parents, and they didn't realize they was doing the same thing. So we don't realize these things because that's part of our test to break those bad habits that we swore we will never be like our parents. We'll never do this like our mother. We'll never do this like our father, and we doing the same things. And a lot of times, it don't even have to be addiction things like I spoke about. It don't even have to just be a certain way you view things when it comes to being open-minded versus cold-minded. It could be many different things. It could be, that's what I was gonna say. Thank you, God. It could be anger issues. It could be being spiteful. That's another thing that I forgot. Thank you, God. That's another thing I want to talk about. Another bad habit that I inherited that I got rid of when I was real young. I noticed that. That's why I don't like getting mad. Because I know I'm a nice person, I'm cool and all that, but when somebody cross me and stuff, like my mind goes to some real treacherous things, like when somebody really backstabbed me. So I knew from young I had to get that out of my system, because like I said, my mom, she's a loving person, but that Leo, she'll bring that fire out. If you do something foul to her, she will get on her spiteful stuff. So I had to learn that, like, oh, I got that side from her, and I had to learn that from when I was younger, like, yo, I gotta get that get that spitefulness out of me, because if somebody get me mad or they do something foul to me, I know where I could take it, or if I want revenge. So I seen the stuff I used to do like that when I was younger. So I'm glad I worked on that when I was real young, like 7, 8. I knew I had to. So that's why I didn't like getting mad. Even now, I don't like getting mad. It's just more, it takes a lot to get me mad. Like, you gotta really do something really, really foul. But even when people stab me in the back or cross me, I don't start thinking like, all right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that to get back, or word they did that, like, word they're gonna do me foul like this, watch this. I don't think that. I now know how to control those emotions better than being spiteful, and learning how to just, let karma play itself out. They're gonna get whatever they did back to them. So that's one of the things, like I said, it doesn't have to just be addiction things, or when it comes to the other things, the bad things that we inherited from our parents that we swore we was never going to be like. It could be those things, anger issues. Yo, what's goody, bro? Chilling. Hope all is well to you. Hope all is well. Shout out to the Buffalo fam, yup. I was just talking about Buffalo yesterday too. Like, yo, man, I need to go back up there and visit. It's been a minute. But yeah, so it could be anger issues. It could be, like I said, being spiteful. It could be certain traits and stuff like that. That it could be giving up. Because a lot of times people they might have had parents that gave up on their dreams. Gave up on, it could have been just, they had a family. They had to take the back seat. They had to give up their own personal dreams. They had to just put the family first. Some people inherited those traits and give up on themselves, or talking down. So it could be talking down to yourself. Some people inherit those bad things from their parents, and they talk down on themselves now. When it comes to pursuing things, they don't have the confidence in themselves. They don't have the belief in themselves. So it doesn't just have to be as harsh as things of addiction and other things that we might have seen our parents go through, and then we don't realize we start doing that as we get older. It could be those little things. Like, those are all cycles and traits for us and tests for us to work on, but acknowledge it, because a lot of people don't like to acknowledge those things or be accountable in themselves when they see those things. They know it, like, oh, I got to work on my anger. I got that from my mother and my father. I got to work on my temper. I got that from them. Or I got to work on whatever it is. They say those things, but they don't put the work in, and then they just continue to do those things, or continue to throw those type of emotions towards people, especially people that they love, that's trying to give them chances, and keep making the excuse of, yo, I'm trying to be better, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, but they're not really working on it. And I'm pretty sure we all know people like that, or we might have been those people to other people ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure I done did that to certain people, or whatever the case was, or whatever trait I was working on trying to get rid of, I done did it or whatever to other people, even after I said I wasn't. Because like I said, we're not overnight successes. We got to work on those things, and it takes work, because these are habits. Habits are things that we inherited, or we done develop our own habits, and we have to get ourselves out of those things. So it takes time. And that's back to what I was saying in the beginning about me not being closed-minded as like my father. Those are one of the traits, like it's his way or the highway. I learned that by myself and realized I can't be like that when it comes to understanding people and where they're at on the journey. I have to be open-minded and learn that people are going to make mistakes, so people didn't learn things the way I did, so they're not going to know the things that I should expect them to know. They're not going to grow at the rapid pace that I think they should grow. They're going to grow in the pace that they're supposed to grow. So it's up to me to either be there, excuse me, I'm going to make sure it's a little cold, make sure I ain't got no nose drip, but it's up to me to either be supportive of them and be there by their side for that journey, wherever that journey is, whether they're trying to get rid of their anger issues, attitudes, stuff that they developed from stuff that they inherited from their parents, addiction, habits, whatever the case is, something that's holding them back. It's up to me to decide, all right, I could be supportive of them, or if it's messing us up too much, or it's messing me up and my energy and my well-being too much, then I can step aside, but I don't have to look like, oh, I'm be cold as I was years before. I don't have to be cold and closed off to this person. I can still support them from a distance. So I might not be there the whole ride, but if it gets rough and they need somebody to talk to, I'll listen to them. If they need somebody to, be there for them, if occasionally I could do that for them, So I had to work and look at those things in that way. So that's really, like I said, we got many tests in life when it comes to our journey to help us grow and develop. But one of our biggest tests is overcoming bad habits that we inherit from our immediate, from our parents. And we always talk about generational curses and stuff like that, but we don't really dive into when it comes to like real the people that we live in our homes with, or that we grew up with, because they taught us certain things. They taught us, their ways of doing things, and we seen them do things that we didn't like, and we swore like, we never gonna do this or do that, and then they end up. Oh, that's another example. Thank you. I know dudes that they might have seen their mother go through abuse, or seen their father abusing their mother, and they swore they was never gonna be like that. They was never gonna do this or whatever, and then before they know, they treat, because they seen their mother, or they seen their mother, being promiscuous with many different men as they grew up, and they hated that. They don't realize that they inherit that trait, and now they being crazy promiscuous with women, but being on some disrespectful stuff to them, because they inherited that bad habit from their mother and don't realize that they doing the same thing. No matter how much they despise that trait in their mother, they doing the same thing. So instead of, and a lot of dudes don't want to acknowledge that. They don't want to work on that, because like I said, it takes a lot. It don't just have to be that. It could be on a woman's side as well. She see her father doing certain things or whatever, and she hated that. She might pick up whatever certain traits that is when it comes to being more promiscuous with a lot of men. If she see her father doing that with many different women. So, and she might hated it, but then she don't realize she's picking up that same trait or whatever and doing the same thing. So it's up to her to break that bad habit and her journey in life. So we all got different things that we all got to break a cycle and a trait that we seen our parents do, and we hate it, we despise, swore up and down we would never be like them, never move like them, and we don't realize that we do a lot of the traits that we said we would never do, and we end up doing it. And it doesn't have to be anything as far as craziness, as far as addiction. It could be bad attitudes, bad anger issues, bad money management. It could be many different things that our parents, gambling, that's another thing. Some people inherit that too from their parents. You seen the thing with what you seen how Michael Jordan, that's the example with his father. His father loved to gamble. He inherited that from his father, and then he didn't work on those issues, and it got a problem for him where it came in the NBA and different things, and it got him into a whole lot of trouble. But he realized he had to work on those things. But that's like examples I'm talking about, inheriting those bad habits from your parent, and you start doing it. But then if you don't work on it, you're going to take it to an even crazier level if you don't realize what you're doing or what's going on. So always remember that on your journey, or always think back to certain things that your parents was doing, or certain things that you was told when you was little, or certain things that you seen them do, and apply it to your life now, so you can realize like, oh, that's why I do that, or that's why I get angry so fast, or that's why I might be, when somebody cross me, I think spiteful, and I want to do something to them because my mom's like that, or my pops is like that, or this, whatever the case is. You gotta be able to look back on that and apply it now, so you can know, okay, I gotta change that, or that's not really good, I gotta work on that. It could be for somebody, maybe if they get drunk, maybe if they drink, they start acting like their father, they start acting like their mother when they used to get drunk and stuff like that, acting belligerent or acting crazy, or don't know how they hold their liquor, and they realize, I don't like the way I get when I drink. I act just like my father, I act just like my mother. I need to work on that. I need to put the drink down. Those are different things that I'm talking about, that we got to realize that that's part of our test. That's one of our tests in life, is to stop those things, acknowledge it first, and be real with ourselves and be like, that's not good. Those things I seen, that's going to make me start doing the same things my father or my mother was doing. Or, that's not good when I get angry, because I just black out and just see red. And that's the same way my father used to get when we was younger, the same way my mother used to get. And she used to just do craziness when she get mad. All these things you got to realize, so you could break the habit and break the trait, so you don't continue it in your own life. And so you could start a new cycle with a new trait. So you could start, because a lot of our parents weren't taught these things of how to do anger management. And you don't have to go talking to somebody. You could do that within yourself, of how to handle it, because all you're doing is learning how to handle your anger. That's what I mean by anger management. So they weren't taught these things, or they didn't have outlets to talk about these things, because the older generation, like I said, grandmothers and all that, they wear the highway. our generation is more understanding, open-minded when it comes to mental health, talking about things, emotional well-being, all these different things. So we now are open to those things, and we take those things more serious as far as, yo, if you're not feeling the best, tell somebody that's close that, yo, I ain't feeling good, I'm depressed. If you're not feeling the best, or when it comes to your anger, you got to find different exercise, learn how to, when I get angry, I need to go play ball. When I get angry, I need to go work out. When I get angry, I need to go on a run. When I get angry, I need to go write down. When I get angry, I need to go listen to music. When I get angry, I need to go take a spiritual bath and cleanse myself. Whatever it is that you learned about yourself to help you manage that anger or manage those habits or those addictions, whatever it is something positive so you can change the trait so you know how to handle it better. And then, thank you, God. And that's what I mean by creating a new cycle. So if you decide to have kids, or you're an influencer, or you just not even an influencer, you just a person that people look up to and they watching you, you can learn how to teach them how to cope with those things. Because like I said, our parents weren't taught. Most of our parents, they didn't have those things taught to them, or had an outlet or different ways shown to them of how to manage these things. So they had to just kind of go and learn things on the fly. And some of those habits, they just still got in them, and they grown people. It just is what it is. But we now learn. So we now learn. People, it's funny. So we now learn how to pass those. How to teach a new cycle to our kids, or our cousins that's younger than us, our younger brothers, younger sisters. Even some of the grown people. Because just because we're younger than them don't mean that they can't learn from us. Because there's a lot of my parents told me a lot of things, but things that I learned, I was teaching them now. And they like, wow, I never thought about that. Or, wow, I never seen life in that perspective. Or I never knew this knowledge or this information. So I'm pretty sure it's things that y'all know, that y'all taught your parents or teaching your parents now, if they still living. And, it's helping them even as grown adults. So that's what I mean by helping, even teaching them how to break certain habits. Or, sometimes they might be set in their ways, but at least you offer something to help them. And maybe they might break the habit, even though they set in their ways, they're older, but one day they might take the advice. But as far as the younger ones watching you, the younger brothers, the younger sisters, the cousins, even your kids, you could teach them how to, all right, yo, this is what you do when you got anger issues, or this is what you do when you're facing something and you feel like you're getting addicted to it, or this is what you do when you feel like you want to do something spiteful to somebody that did you wrong, or, this is different things you could do when it comes to, if you feel like anything that's an issue for them that they don't know how to solve. Expressing themselves. This is what you could do to express yourself. This is what you could do to be creative, to get yourself out of the depression, to get yourself out of social anxiety. So we are here to get ourselves out of that and get tested by life, and then also teach others coming after us how to do those things with different exercises and different situations and different, not even situations, but different outlets in order for them to overcome those obstacles as well. So, I think that's pretty much when it comes to the topic of that. Yeah, because I don't want to sound redundant and stuff, but yeah, that's basically it. We got many tests in life. One of our tests is overcoming bad habits that we inherit from our parents. And you could think back and apply it to your own life when it comes to your parents, or certain stuff that you think about, like, yo, yeah, I used to hate when my father did this, or I used to hate when my mother did this. But then when I look at certain stuff now in my own life, I handle things in that way. Or I when somebody says something, I might jump at it real quick and get angry, or I might throw the flame out and just without thinking first, and they might have did that. So now you might be like, yo, I need to work on that. So I know how to think before I talk, or think before I throw the flamethrower out to somebody. Or, yo, like I spoke about with my parents, I noticed when it came to addiction or certain stuff like that, then I developed those traits as well. And then next thing I know, I'm doing things that's addictive, like smoking and drinking, and then I'm doing it at an addictive rate where it led me to depression. It led me to not feeling good about myself. And then it led me into just a bunch of stuff that I didn't need to be doing. And I had to learn the hard way, and I had to be real with myself and be like, all right, I know where this is coming from. This is coming from here. My mother struggled with that before she became clean with her struggles and stuff when it came to substance abuse. I see the same traits in myself as well that I didn't think was there. Even though I hated seeing her in that mode when I was a little kid, now I'm facing the same thing. So I need to be real with myself and work on those things, and I did. So I was like, I gotta stop drinking because I see that's not really good. Excuse me. I just tell myself I gotta stop drinking because I see what it does to me. I gotta stop smoking because I see I don't know when to stop, and it gets addictive. Or when I am doing, I'm not focused, or whatever the case, it brings on my nerves and paranoia. Or it's not. It's just I'm just not in the right element, or it's affecting my spiritual gifts. I can't get my messages in my dreams. I can't hear God as good. I can't feel. My intuition is not as good. Like everything is just all over the place. My brain is too scattered. Or when it comes to the alcohol drinking, I don't make the right decisions. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, or and overall health-wise as well when it came to those things. So think back on those things when it comes to your childhood, your life, your upbringing, and then apply it to your life now, and then really, really think about those things and be like, damn, I never knew that's where it come from, or damn, I forgot my parents used to be doing this, and that now I'm doing the same thing, and I didn't even realize that's why I do certain things in a certain way, and it might not be the best, and you might not want to do it in that way. So think about those things so you can, because that's part of our test, realizing it, breaking that trait, getting rid of it, or learning how to manage it better with different ways, positive ways of outlets to help you manage it better, and then eventually you'll get rid of it. Because like I said, nothing is overnight success as far as getting rid of something cold turkey, because that's why it's a habit. It was developed or inherited from somewhere, or you developed it on your own. So you got to work on ways how to get it out of your system, but slowly but surely. And then after that, you'll be good, where you might not ever have to deal with it again, or you know how to handle it better before it gets to that point. So that's the message. Yep, I hope all is well with y'all. If everything's not good, I hope it get better. It definitely will get better. This year is your year. It's all of our year. Don't worry, things is gonna get better. And like I always say, whether we run, whether we jog, whether we sprint or crawl, because life is that hard. Sometimes you can't run, you can't jog, you can't sprint. Only thing you could do is crawl to your destination. But like I always say, somehow, some way, we got to make it to our destination someday. So happy new moon. If y'all didn't know, today is 111, new moon in Capricorn. That's why I'm giving y'all this message, so we could detox out of those things to bring in the new, because the new moon is all about bringing in the new. Yep, you already know, bro, definitely. So it's all about bringing in the new, but also getting rid of the old so you can make room for the new. So always remember that too when it comes to your manifestations or the things you're praying for or praying about. Make sure you're making room in your life, whether that's getting rid of certain habits, certain toxic things, certain toxic ways, toxic people. I gotta say that, be honest. Or just getting rid of things in your house that no longer serve you. Because sometimes we got things in the house that we've been holding on to for years, and we don't even use it no more. We just keeping it, but we really don't need it. So that's blocking a lot of things too. So you'll notice when you clear out those things, throw those things away or give them away, whatever the case is, how much stuff starts coming in. Or when you get rid of toxic people that's taking up space in your life, how much new people come in that's meant for you, that's on your vibe and your frequency, or opportunities that's meant for you. So remember that. Do your manifestation prayers and everything today. It's a powerful portal, and the powerful number is 111. New moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about that hard lessons, and people receiving their karma, but also receiving your good karma as well if you're doing what you were supposed to do and doing the things that you needed to do as well. So do your thing today, take advantage of this, and like I said, like I always say, to the next topic. Peace.